my name's Zoe Saholder. I'm going to talk to you about energy systems. All movements require energy, but how do we get that energy? Through the energy systems of our body. Now, historically, physiologists have only looked at about 3 different energy systems mainly, and those ones were phosphagen, anaerobic, and aerobic systems. But due to advances in technology and science and research, nowadays when physiologists talk about energy systems and we learn about them, there are 5 different categories that they come into. The categories of those exercises are ATP-PC, which is the phosphorus, alactic anaerobic, ATP-PC also alactic anaerobic plus lactic, glycogen lactic acid, aerobic and anaerobic together. So those are the 5 different types. I'm going to go through more of those in more detail, but you can also have a look at the table on page 5 of the Yogi manual and you'll find some more information in those. So first of all, to give you some more information on the ATP and phosphocreatine energy system. This is immediate, high energy, so anything less than 10 seconds. So for example, you do a really strong workout, maximum as fast as you can, as much energy as you can for 10 seconds, and then you have a 3-minute recovery exercise. So that could be an explosive movement. We could use the Yogi jump lunge exercise, or the seated toss, or the burpee, or you could do a sprint. So those are just some of the examples. It uses alactic anaerobic system, which uses no oxygen and there's no production of lactic acid. So that's 1. So the second of the ATP phosphocreatine energy system works from 11 seconds to 30 seconds. So again, it's continuous. We're still looking at high energy, and you're looking at 30 seconds or between 11 to 30 seconds all out. So again, maximum energy, and then 2 minutes recovery exercise. So again, in this one, there's no oxygen used, but there is lactic acid. That system is used to create energy. So a good example of this would be the sprint and sprawl exercise on the Yogi ball. So our third system is glycogen lactic acid. So this is continuous for 1 minute. So we would do 1 minute of exercises and we would have 1 minute of a recovery exercise. Again, an example of this, which you can see in the table, is burpees. So this uses lactic acid anaerobic, using glycogen and lactic acid. So lactic acid is produced in the absence of oxygen, and so that's where we get our energy from. So the last two systems are both kind of like come under the category of aerobic. The first one of them is, in terms of aerobic, you're looking at less than 5 minutes of sustained continuous activity. So for example, using intervals of 5 high-intensity Yogi exercises followed by 5 recovery Yogi exercises. And you're using your aerobic system, so oxygen, and you're also using lactic anaerobic, burning glycogen, using glycogen and fats. The last one is, again, still using the aerobic system, but now we've got aerobic and anaerobic together. So really this duration is anything more than 10 minutes, sustained activity. So that's like a whole Yogi workout. For this, you have continuous activity, and you can guide and adapt your Yogi workout depending on how many different energy systems you want to focus in on. When Yogi workouts are created, for it to be functional, we really need to be using 2 or more energy systems throughout the course of your whole workout. One of the things that you need to remember is that when you're looking at the energy systems that you use, the aerobic system uses more than just fat for fuel. The percentage or the amount of fat that you can use will vary depending on the intensity of the exercise and the aerobic demand. If you can sustain the same intensity and pace for more than 10 minutes, fantastic. That takes quite a bit of training. And as you're going through, depending on the level, whether they're novice, beginners, intermediate or advanced training people, you'll need to take that into consideration as you create your Yugi workout. As people are, their ability to maintain that high intensity and sustained movement continuous, then the amount of fats or the aerobic system that they're using will change. So it will move down to use more glycogen as the sustainability decreases. And so you then kind of like reverse and work backwards down the energy systems sustained. So that's a little nutshell of your energy systems. So just to remind you, again on page 5, so when we're looking at all these energy systems, we've got our alactic anaerobic system, and that uses no oxygen and there's no lactic acid produced. Then you've got your lactic anaerobic. So here lactic acid is produced, but again, this is still in the absence of oxygen. You've got your aerobic, which means in the presence of oxygen, and you've got your anaerobic, which doesn't use oxygen. So those definitions are also on page 5 of your manual for your Yugi workouts. Thank you.